What we're trying to achieve is a very old dream, creating a virtual dual universe for millions of people to live in, to invent their story, their character, to do anything they want, to become anyone they want. You've seen that already in science fiction. We're trying to build it.
Hello everyone, my name is Cam Jack, and today we're going to be talking about Dual Universe and the public release of its roadmap, as well as a few other topics. Before we jump straight into this, if you're still unsure of what Dual Universe actually is, then feel free to watch some of my previous videos talking about the game and exactly what it is and what it will be in some greater detail. I'm going to jump in just talking about the latest game movements today, so I won't be explaining fully what it is, so I suggest you watch those videos if you're not sure what it is. But for those of you who do know what the game is, stick around, we're going to get straight into this. Alright, so getting into this, first let's take a look at the information from JC's latest video. He's the CEO of NovaQuark, aka the developers of Dual Universe. In his latest video, which was released today, JC talks about the fact that the end of 2018 is quickly approaching, and that himself and the developers want to keep their promise to players of giving access to the game in its alpha state to all Kickstarter backers by the end of the year. He goes on to say that this builds into the release of the roadmap, which we'll analyse in more detail later in the video. To sum this part up, JC tells us there will be an alpha stage 1 by the end of the year, and the set date is currently November. Great news for myself, my birthday's in November, it's going to be pretty cool. I would take this with a pinch of salt as it could potentially change, but so far it is set in stone, but with early access games it could change at any time. It's just something to take note of and be prepared for, I like to think of. Also featuring this video is talk about how Dual Universe has received some additional investment into it, which is good news. A total of $3.5 million have been added to the current investment, which puts the total amount of funding, together with crowdfunding, Kickstarter, to $11 million. JC goes on to say that this is excellent news for the developers, as it will allow the company to grow bigger and hire more people to keep delivering on the road to the game's release. Overall, great news for the game studio. Hopefully they're going to make massive use of this new investment, and I can't wait to see what they produce. Another announcement for this video is that there will be a Dual Universe AMA very soon, which I will analyse of course, so if you're looking forward to that, stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed. On that note as well, Dual Universe or NovaQuark are currently hiring for people to come and work for the game, so if that does mean anything to people who are watching this, head over their website where, there might be a job for yourself. Now, let's analyse the release roadmap that came out today and take a look at all the details on it. I'm going to break it down into simple steps, and so it's shown we can focus on the specifics of the roadmap. Let's jump straight into it. So, starting in November 2018, it's only a few months away now. As JC mentioned, Alpha 1, codenamed First Contact, will take place here. This will introduce all Kickstarter players into the game and give them things such as world building. This will allow players to terraform the world and build their own secret bases, one voxel at a time. Also with this, players will get the ability to create and save designs they made. If you're familiar with spaces, it's kind of like the blueprint system. It's something similar to the Steam Workshop. How it'll work is what I imagine. The feature is super key. I believe it will allow players to keep a copy of what they build to save losing it. If you've built this awesome creation, you don't want to lose it if the server crashes or, God forbid, someone steals it. You really want to keep a hold of that. So now you can take a blueprint of it, so if it does get destroyed, you still have a copy of it. Explore and Harvest will allow for mining of precious materials and the ability to sell them to an NPC market to then buy components for constructs. By the looks of this, there might be some sort of preset market before player RAM markets are introduced into the game. There has been talk of this before. Along with this, players will also have the ability to craft their own interactive components for bases and ships. I'm going to look forward to how this is expanded very soon. Overall, Alpha 1 is looking quite interesting, and it's definitely going to be give a lot of people a deeper understanding of Dual Universe and how the game will work from an early point of view. Now, moving on to Alpha 2, codenamed Dual Evolution, which is scheduled for the first half of 2019. The game starts to allow players to focus on becoming an industrialist. What this means is you'll be able to create a set of factories to mass produce vehicles for you and your friends, or you can sell them and make some profit. Along with this, the markets also being introduced. Compared to the NPC markets, you'll now be able to set up your own markets and trading centers, essentially becoming a trading tycoon overnight. It's quite fun to be honest, as this is going to make sure the player economy actually gets built inside the game. Character progression is also getting introduced and is coming along with this stage, meaning you can focus on their specific skill system. I haven't seen many details on this yet, so we'll have to wait and see till it's officially out. But it seems quite cool that we're going to be able to specify on specific skill trees as well, and I can't wait to see how this is going to help, especially in player factions as well. You're going to have more people who are checked out to do mining, and more people who are checked out to do sort of construction. It's going to be pretty interesting. So, looking into the further half of 2019, Alpha 3 comes along, codenamed Alliances Shattered. Now, this is going to be a big step for the gaming community, as Alpha 3 will introduce PvP combat between players, essentially meaning you can arm your character and take on other players in the world. I honestly can't wait to see what this will look like. Another much wanted feature that also arrives in this stage is the form of ship combat. You'll be able to engage in construct versus construct battles and defences. Now, on this note, I am slightly concerned on how this will operate. Why, you ask? I'm hoping for explosive battles, but I think we might end up with something where it'll just be a ship with a health bar, which will be slightly a bit disappointing. Now, coming from a game like Space Engineers and going to this, I really want some sort of explosive factor where ships are falling apart and things like that, instead of a health bar. But nevertheless, I'll wait and see what the game actually has with it, and then I'll make my criticism then. Either way, I'm going to be happy with it, as it's going to be a pretty cool combat system nevertheless. Still, battling your own creations is quite fun. I want to know your guys' opinions on the combat system and how you'd like to see it take place. Would you rather see your creations with health bars like other games operate, or would you rather see it with a destruction factor like Space Engineers operates? Now, social features are also going to be appearing in this stage, presumably introducing a way for you to interact with and meet new players in the game, and also meet your friends more easily. Moving into the first half of 2020, the beta officially starts, under the name Empires Expand. I like the name, to be honest. In this stage, we'll be seeing the introduction of player nations, enabling you to rally players under your banner. Basically, building more on the organizations feature of the game is what I'm thinking. You'll be able to give every player a role for what to do in their faction. It's going to be quite cool. Speaking of this, if you are interested in joining my faction, Redwood Industries, click the link down below, as we'd love to have you along for the journey and to work for you guys in this massive procedural universe. It's going to be quite cool. Along with player nations comes territory warfare. You can lay claim to rich areas and defend them from all corners. I'm looking forward to this feature, to be honest. I wonder if we'll see ground and space combat at the same time. That would be quite cool. So I'm going to be excited for this. A mission system is also introduced, allowing the creation of quests for other players to help in building your empire. I'm going to like the introduction of this. Basically, if you need to build your empire, say you need some stone to be gathered, for example, you can set other players a mission of going and gathering stone and then coming back to you. Obviously, this will have expansion of when it's actually out, but it's still going to be quite cool. On the note of building your empire, you'll also be able to reach for the stars and discover and explore new solar systems. Presumably, this is put here to indicate new planets and systems to be introduced to the game. We already know at the start of the game, one base system is going to be there, where a few planets and moons will be around, but hopefully, in my last interview I did with JC, he did mention of other solar systems people can explore, so that's going to be quite cool to see how they introduce that. Now, looking into the second half of 2020, which is the release section of the game, codename Awakening, which is quite fitting when you think about it, the stage mentions the idea of polishing the game so you can play it in a smooth and a balanced game world. Character customization will also be coming to the game, as well as pets. Now, that's kind of it for the long reach of the roadmap there. I expect this roadmap to have things added to it as it progresses on, as much roadmaps usually do. So we're probably going to have to come back and visit this at another point, but for the minute, it kind of makes everything fit in quite well there, and I like it. That's mainly it for the roadmap there. I'd be interested in your opinions down below in the comments section. One thing just to take note of, which JC mentioned in his video, is that unfortunately the pre-alpha non-disclosure agreement will remain in place beyond the alpha launch, which is disappointing for myself and many others, as it means we won't be able to share our game experience with yourself. What I mean by that is screenshots and videos. Now, I'm saying that, I do understand why they have done this. Novacorp themselves have decided to keep the NDA in place for the following reasons. They mention how today's gaming landscape can be unforgiving, and getting a sudden huge visibility without being ready enough can make the difference between being a hit or being dead on arrival. They mention how the NDA lift will be an important moment for them, and that they want to maximise their odds in favour, which is totally acceptable when you kind of think about it. To round that up, while I am disappointed that the NDA will remain in place, I do agree with Novacorp when they say that they mention in fact the first impression is the most relevant one, and that expectations are always very high, early stage or not. A prime example of this is No Man's Sky. Given the fact it has relaunched recently, if we do look back to its original launch, it had launch troubles, and therefore some people's impressions towards the game have remained unchanged even with the latest update. This is not what Dual Universe wants to be, and neither does many of us. We don't want Dual Universe to be like that. They want new players to understand the game has to offer in the long run. I do super appreciate how transparent JC and his team are being with the community, as it does put some concerns to bed that I had, and I'm sure it'll help many other players as well. To conclude this, I'm really impressed with the roadmap. Although it looks basic from a first glance, it does include a lot of detail for the road ahead contains the Dual Universe. I'm also super impressed with the level of transparency that Novacorp are showing the community. Other game companies could learn from them, to be honest. The NDA point is obviously disappointing, but it's to be expected in this day and age. As we have mentioned, you do not want to come out and be unprepared, as if it gains a massive traction, the game would be considered trash because there's not much to currently offer, which is a shame. But hopefully the way they're going to do it is going to introduce a lot more for players to actually work with, so I cannot wait to see that. Well, that about wraps up my video on Dual Universe for today. As the year goes on, we're going to be having a lot more discussions about the game and its topics, so if you do want to stay up to date with Dual Universe information, make sure to subscribe to myself. I'll be always bringing you the latest information from the game. Now, if you do want to join our Dual Universe organisation, the link is down below to Redwood Industries. Come and join us as soon as we get a lot more people in the game, so at the end of this year, we're going to start running a few things, meeting up with people, and working with community members. Well, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Captain Jack, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.